try to give a more detailed video on how I set up my Pelican Catch to make it motorized. I have the Pelican Catch 100 and the Pelican Catch 120, and I've converted them into motorized kayaks that I control with my pedals for steering. So here we go, bear with me. So the first thing I did was I modified the foot pedals. How do I make them slide like that? Well, if you push down here, like this, it slides right out. And then what I did, there's little stoppers. Okay, so I use a grinding wheel, you know, turn it on, to grind down the foot pedals so they slide real easy on both sides. And I use my grinding wheel and I ground them down, sprayed it with a silicone spray, and I took 1/16 inch steel wire and I don't know if you can see that very well, but I put it through here. I drilled a little hole, I put it through, and then I crimped it, and that is going to be one of my steering controls for the kayak. So let's see if we can get over here and see this. When the motor is attached, when you steer like this, left, right, or whatever. Okay. So that's the one thing I did. Now I don't want to lose my kayak. I don't want to lose my kayak as a paddling kayak. So the other thing I did was I set the pedals where I would like it when I'm pedaling, and which is right here. Drilled a hole through here. Careful not to drill it into the boat. I put a bolt that just slides in, and so when I'm pedaling, both of these pedals are all the way forward. Okay, so there is that. Now let's talk about the cables I did. So I didn't want to drill any holes in my boat, so I took, well, there's holes, but I fixed them. So I took the cable and I put one of these little clips, I guess, not really a clip, whatever. You can buy those at any kayak place or boat store. I put one here, the steel wire goes through, the seat, which goes here, this just carries on to the back. And then what you see here is I've put 2 crossbars across here and painted them black. I put another little gizmo here and put the steel cable here. Now these guys, here's what they are. You know when you have these kind of shelves? Well, there's my shelf full of fishing rods, right? Like this. I took one of these bars, cut it up, and that's what I used to put across here, and then I just screwed them in. There's actually holes that were already there, and I just screwed them in. And I did the same on both sides, so now I have a steel cable on the left and on the right. Now the next thing you do, because of the motor, is I got 2 cables to steer, but what good is that? So I used the handle that comes with the boat as part of my transom, and I made, ta-da, this transom. Now this guy, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's made out of 1 inch by 1 inch aluminum. And I cut it. It's very soft metal to cut. And then I bolted it. And then at the very end, I put 3 here. Put bolts through this way and bolted it. And on the very corner at the back, I put a little wedge on both sides. So here's what happens here. For the motor, I put, this is my transom, I put it in here like this, and once it's in, it's there. All I do is take a bolt, put it through, wing nut, and when I tighten it up, this transom is solid. Now so now what I've done, this is just a Minkota 3030, and For you Americans, they were about $100 Canadian. I paid about $120 for it. They were dirt cheap. So what I did, I cut the shaft. I used, you know those little round plumber's pipe cutters? I cut the shaft, cut it open, got the wires out. I rewired everything. But here's where the motor goes. So let's just get to that first, okay? So this is the motor in the down position, okay? And you can see how it's on the transom, and it's rock solid. And I said, okay, I want to go pretty shallow sometimes, so I just permanently made it about 1.5 feet. I could have made it a bit deeper now that I have second thoughts in the water, but that's how I did it. Now, if you go bass fishing, and everybody does, sometimes you go in really, really shallow water where it's even too shallow for the kayak motor. It'll get hung up in the weeds. So I need something to pull this out of the weeds, and then I just switch over to a paddle. So I'll show you what I do here, okay? Okay, so here's my kayak seat. So the wires I have put in go underneath the seat. The seat goes on like that, and you know, you strap it all in. Now, how do I do this if I get really shallow water, lots of weeds? I have another 16th of an inch steel cable at the top, and I have it fixed so that when I can pull it, you just give a little attitude and it'll pull, and this just goes there. Let's see what that looks like. So that's how I have, again, just crimped it, goes back, and it holds that motor out of the water. Okay, now we're not done, so I'll keep on going. Okay, so when I'm in deep water, I want to get going, I'll take this off, I just run it down, and then I hook it onto my seat. So this is the seat. This is the up position on the Pelican, which I preferred 99.99% of the time. What I do with the kayak pull out of the weedy part, I just click it on here. So now we got to get to how do we steer it. I take the clip, that wire for the steering on one side, like so. Go on the other side. Here it is. Here is the other side. Just with these clips you bought at the hardware store. Clip it on. And the wiring goes to the basket which I have behind the seat with the battery. So, if you can see this, I'm going to show you how it steers. Using the pedals, I can turn it any way I want. And because I'm using the controls that came with the Minkota, all they did was you take it all apart. Bought an electrical box. This is the switch from inside the Minkota control. The controller is in here. The wires go from the Minkota, they go into the box, and then the power goes to the battery, which sits in a milk crate back here. And I use a dead man switch, which is in my other videos. So, you know, if you're not afraid of taking things apart, you could do quite a bit. And I got another Minkota all set to go. My wife's kayak, I'm gonna fix up and put the motor on it too so she can keep up with me. But you know, all you do is you start taking things apart and take pictures so you know how to put them back together again. And this thing goes, I could do about 3 to 4 miles an hour on a nice day with this kayak. And I can go with the big battery. I have 2 batteries. The big battery I go 5 hours. The smaller battery, which weighs half as much, I can do about 2.5 to 3 hours. And it's so worth it. I get out to where the fish are, and I stop using the motor. Then I use the paddles, and I have a great time. So that's it. And I I hope you'll give it a try.